His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada ki. Yeah. All glories to the Assembled One.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So it's our great fortune to have association of His great Jivanath Prabhu. So it is said in Shastra, the maximum advancement we can make in bhakti is by the process of sadhu. So, more a person spends time in Krishna consciousness, last time I was saying, we realize and chanting Hare Krishna, and we get to associate them, it's like, if you read books, it may take you 20 years, 30 years to understand something. But if you associate with a person who has already practiced for many years, and hear from him, then it's like getting the realization what he has earned for many years, we can get in few hours. So we are very fortunate. Prabhu has been practicing. Most of you are born maybe 20 years, 25 years back.
I'll go with all of you.
So आप लोग का जन्म होने के बाद before your birth, before that Prabhu has started bhakti. Hari Bol. Hari Bol. Almost last about to be 50 years almost. So Prabhu is going to have 50 years of Krishna consciousness. And he is almost 74. No, 70 approximately. That's sufficient. So for 70 years old, what you can see yesterday when the Kirtan was always very enthusiastic and always encouraging me also. So it's very great fortune that we associate with devotees, and for them to be in Dham is not easy. Because many of us are Indian bodies is many times fit for austerity. Heat, cold, not so difficult. But for them to accept Krishna consciousness, many of my friends are telling, who are young, for them to be in India is very difficult. And that also is not only in India, very difficult. The weather, climate, etc. Very difficult. Not only that, along with that, he is not only just being in Dham, he is actively preaching. And language is not a barrier. Even in Bengali is preaching. I was seeing last time when I came to Mayapur, I was there in the Japa, they make people chant. So Paul took the mic and he was speaking English and person was translating. And he was really telling, giving the example of mobile. Maybe Paul will tell that. So he is so much concerned about people. So that language, nothing, he would just want people to take to Krishna consciousness. That's our very great fortune that we are getting to hear from him. You want to hear from him? I think you are not interested, huh?
So there's a story that one of Srila Prabhupada's disciples, she was asked to do a service she felt unworthy of. So Prabhupada actually wanted her to type out the transcribed translations and put it into a piece of paper, write it, type it down. And she said, I'm not really good at this, Prabhupada. Maybe you can get somebody else. So this is a long time ago when Prabhupada was having very intimate association with his disciples. And this particular Mataji, she had a very almost motherly, she almost treated Srila Prabhupada like her son, which is a very interesting relationship. Not too many disciples can speak to their guru like their child, but she did. She would say, oh Srila Prabhupada, you must put your socks on. It will be cold where we are going. And Prabhupada would do it. They had such a loving relationship that Prabhupada would simply do it. Or don't wear that chadar, it doesn't really look good and you'll be on stage. Wear this one looks nicer. And that's what mothers do, right? Mothers are like, you got a crumb there, get that off their shirt. And she would do things like that. And Prabhupada loved it because it was a very special, very warm. There's a few disciples of him that could do things like that. She was one of them. There was hold on. Wasn't planning on saying her name, I forgot. Govinda, yeah. She is actually the only disciple of Srila Prabhupada that has her name mentioned in one of Prabhupada's books. He doesn't mention any of his disciples by name, but Govinda, they were very special. And I had some association with her. She's special. Unique is probably a good word. Her love for Srila Prabhupada is just unbelievable. Like most of us have this attraction, affection, a little bit of love, but Govinda is 100% sold out. She loves Prabhupada, just loves. And just by talking to her, like Prabhu was saying, by talking to somebody who has something, you can get that something from them. I felt more in love with Srila Prabhupada by associating with Govinda Dasi. Very special soul. So she was asked by Prabhupada to type out the transcripts. And she said, Prabhupada, I'm not a good typist. Get somebody else. I think it would be better. And Prabhupada said, no, I want you to do this. And again, because of the relationship, she said, but Srila Prabhupada, no, you should get somebody else. So she's almost correcting Prabhupada. Say, get somebody else. And Prabhupada says, no, I want you to do it. And then he said to her, whenever you are given a service, and sometimes you don't feel worthy of this service, there's a prayer you can say that you are asking Krishna, please help me. I'm not worthy to do this, but with your help, I can do this. And Prabhupada gave her the prayer, Oma Gyana Tirandascha Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmaditan Gena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Now if you don't know this prayer, look it up, because it's a really good prayer, because Prabhupada said, if you feel unworthy, and most of us should feel unworthy, we hear the acharyas, you read Narottam Das Thakur's songs and Bhaktivinoda Thakur's songs, they are saying, I am worthless, I am so unworthy. And we should be thinking, well, if you're feeling that and you are an exalted personality, how am I supposed to feel, right? But that is our mood. We need to be humble. We need to feel ourselves lower than the straw on the street. Now, most of us are not lower than the straw on the street by our conception. We think ourselves to be wonderful. Because really, in the material world, when you take birth, your parents instill this in you. They instill it. You did this. Oh, that's so amazing. Oh, you're wonderful. And you start to believe this. You start to think, right? Thank you. You've noticed. I am wonderful. And that is a big impediment, because Trinada Pisuni Chena, lower than the straw on the street, we must be to maintain the spiritual identity of being a servant of Krishna. Not Krishna. not even close to Krishna. The last thing we can even think of, hopefully, and we ever, never think of this, is that one day I will be Krishna. If I get it together, I will be God. Now, unfortunately, especially in the West, I'm not sure about India, but in the West, you're really brought up to believe that. You can do anything. The sky is the limit, is the example. Sky is the limit. The sky seems reachable if you just put your mind to it. You too can control your own destiny. What a bunch of BS. You know what BS is? You probably don't, which is good. BS means something that I won't tell you. Oh, okay. Okay. Does everybody understand me? No. Good enough? I'll try not to be too American.
The main thing is to understand the message.
Yeah.
If you don't understand the message, then it's useless.
Okay?
Oh, what was Govindasi? What Prabhupada told her? What Prabhupada told to Govindasi? Govindasi क्या बोला?
Translating.
उन्होंने क्या बोला?
I am not worthy to do it.
Prabhupada ने क्या बोला उनको?
You have to do it.
Prabhupada ने क्या बोला उसके बाद?
आपको करना ही होगा. I am not worthy.
उसके बाद? Prabhupada gave her prayer. Prabhupada gave her prayer. आपको समझ आ रहा है? क्या prayer दी थी? नारे के लिए सही है तो क्या पूछ रहे थे बनाने तो most of the people
Okay. So, this humility, if one actually has it, it is easily noticeable in a person. I know people who are humble. Myself, I've never been very humble. And I'm still working on it. Still trying to be humble. It's not easy. Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, he exhibited humility. Now here is somebody who has, in a few short years, spread Krishna consciousness all around the world. And people would obviously glorify him for this activity, and he would never accept it. He would never accept that praise. He would always say, it is simply the mercy of my spiritual master. Now that is real humility. There's only one time that it is recorded where Prabhupada almost accepted the praise. Somebody asked him, it is said in the scriptures that a centipede, a general, will come and spread this Krishna consciousness all around the world. Is that you, Srila Prabhupada? And Prabhupada said, probably. Didn't say yes. He said, probably. And we all know it's Prabhupada. Nobody else has done what Srila Prabhupada has done. Just look at me. I'm from America. What am I doing sitting here in Mayapur talking to you? It's Prabhupada's mercy. He spread this movement all around the world. But yet he was the most humble. Because a pure devotee, he exemplifies real humility. He is the personification of humility. There was one time in Europe. Now Prabhupada had just started visiting European countries. This is very early in the movement. And they were having a fire sacrifice. Now, even the word fire sacrifice to most Western devotees is like, what's that? Who knows? We have no idea what a fire sacrifice is. So when Prabhupada was about to do an initiation in Sweden, which is a European country, small country, Nobody there had any idea what a fire sacrifice was, what you needed to get, what you needed to do to have a fire sacrifice. So the fire sacrifice was started. They had some idea. They asked a few questions. There was no flowers. Prabhupada noticed. He said, there are no flowers. How can we have fire sacrifice? There are no flowers. So one of the devotees ran outside to the neighbor's house and took all the flowers. Came running back in, put all the flowers around. The fire sacrifice continued. Prabhupada says there are no vegetables, no fruits. One of the devotees ran into the kitchen, came out with a tray of vegetables, chopped up. He had cut them as if they were going to eat them. No idea how to do a fire sacrifice. Prabhupada says, no, go back. Whole vegetables, whole fruits, not cut. So then they came back out, put all the nice fruit and vegetables around the fire sacrifice. Now, Prabhupada was starting to get a little bit agitated. It happens. It's not going so well. He's getting a little frustrated. And every time he chastised the devotees, his voice got a little bit heavier, a little bit louder, and one of the guests who had come week after week, long hair, cool hippie guy, he noticed that Prabhupada was getting a little agitated. Now every time he would be in the temple, this young boy with the long hair, he would always get the instruction, if something's going wrong, you chant Hare Krishna. If something's bothering you, chant Hare Krishna. So he said to Srila Prabhupada, chant Hare Krishna. Prabhupada bent down, picked up his bead bag, and started chanting. That's humility. Just some young guy is telling the Jagat Guru of the entire universe, chant Hare Krishna. But Prabhupada just chanted Hare Krishna. Good advice. Let's take it. So Prabhu was mentioning how association is so very important. And it is. You can just see. Imagine, let's say, yesterday. You show up, we're doing Harinam. A whole bunch of you came in, started jumping up and down and dancing. I remember he was making great faces. I was looking at him. I noticed that. Him, forget about it. Like he was lucky his dhoti and kurta stayed on. He was jumping up and down so high. But that's wonderful. But imagine this. Imagine if you showed up by yourself. Would you have that same enthusiasm? Probably not, right? It's one thing when you're in a group of people doing it. Like when we're on Harinam, there's 15, 20 people and then a whole bunch of other people. It's okay to do it because everybody's doing it. So it's like what you're supposed to do almost, right? Like if all you guys are jumping up and down in kirtan and he's not, he's going to look odd. You're not going to look odd. He's going to look odd, right? And if everyone's standing there and you're the only one jumping up and down, you're going to look odd. So that's why association's so important. It just so happens your group has a leader who jumps up and down and who dances in kirtan. Imagine if he didn't do that. Imagine if he just stood there like... I'm sure that nobody would just go, let's jump up and down. Yeah, let's do this. But because he's leading by example and you all get his association and he gets your association, it's natural. You just start doing it. It's like, this is what we do. This is what we do. Mayapur is a special place, the birthplace of Mahaprabhu, right? Sankirtan movement starts right here. It's spread from here all around the world. Very, very special place. You've all seen lots of pictures with Lord Chaitanya? Yes? Lots of pictures? I don't see any right here, but there's probably some. You've seen. Okay, so you know. Did you see any pictures of Mahaprabhu, thank you, with his hands in kirtan, stuck in his dhoti, or folded arms? You don't see that, do you? There's not a chance that you'll ever see that, because there aren't any. Because Mahaprabhu was always dancing in ecstasy. This whole movement is based on chanting and dancing Hare Krishna. You chant Hare Krishna and you dance. It doesn't get any easier than that, right? You don't have to have a PhD to chant and dance. You don't even have to graduate from high school to chant and dance. You can understand that. Everyone in this planet can understand. Chant and dance. If you believe it, if you firmly take that into your heart, that chanting and dancing, chant Hare Krishna and dance, you'll go back to Godhead. If you firmly believe that, then you will. Because that is what Krishna says, Lord Chaitanya says, Prabhupada says, all the gurus in Iskcon say. It's a simple process. You chant and dance. Firm belief. Prabhupada once asked his disciples, do you know why I wrote these books? Now, we have so many books, and, you know, everyone wants to think they're intelligent, so they were giving good answers to help us understand the universal truth, to help us understand we are not this body. So many wonderful answers. And Prabhupada just said, no. I wrote these books to convince you to chant Hare Krishna. And then he said, if you are convinced, you don't need to read these books. If you are 100% convinced that chanting Hare Krishna is the process for going back to Godhead, that's all you need to know. That's it. You'll chant all the time. Everywhere you go. Everything you're doing, you'll be chanting. And you're going to go back to Godhead. It's really that simple. Today I was mentioning when I was doing the book thing, he was telling about another story I did. But today I told a story about being happy. Like, is there anybody here who doesn't want to be happy? No. It's a silly question, really. Everybody wants to be happy. We want happiness. We want joy. We want laughter. These are the things that we all really, really want. Our heart desires that because it's natural. The spiritual world, it's all about happiness. Krishna's all about it. Krishna's a real thrill seeker. He's a fun guy. We get to hang out with him. We get to serve him. We're going to have fun too. So when the master is happy, the servants become happy. Unless the servants are doing something they shouldn't do, which is why we're here. Because we decided, nah, don't want to enjoy with Krishna. I want to enjoy by myself. What about me? So that's what happens. We end up here. So hopefully everybody gets it. The chanting Hare Krishna is really important. Now, if you're doing some other thing, like you're going to school, you've got a job, how am I going to chant Hare Krishna? You saying you can't do that? Is that what it is? You can't do it? It's very difficult? No, it's not. You can chant all the time. It's really quite simple. The easiest way to chant is the way we did yesterday, when we're out together jumping up and down. Oh, then it's so easy. There's no distractions. And think about that, no distractions. That means that you are fully engaged. So if you were to leave your body while jumping up and down in Harinam, where do you think you're going to go? Yeah, we're going straight back to Godhead. Wow. That's actually my goal, and I tell people that. At 70 years old, I'm hoping to have like a serious heart attack. Right during kirtan. Like just so focused on chanting, and all of a sudden, boom! Wow, Lord Chaitanya, you're here. It happens. I saw it happen. Want to hear it? Good story. Good story. I was in Toronto. It was a Sunday feast. And there was this doctor, very well-dressed, well-educated, wealthy doctor, standing in front of Gaur Nitai. Well, he wasn't standing, actually. He was jumping up and down like a crazy guy. Like, I was just like, look at this guy. Well-dressed, just looking so first class. You could see he had a lot of money. He was obviously a wealthy doctor. Jumping, he's in his 50s, jumping. And I was standing like this close to him. And I'm thinking, I've seen him in kirtan before. I never saw him do this. This guy was just like in ecstasy. He couldn't jump high enough. And he was just jumping. He wasn't stopping for anything. The kirtan was revving him on. He was revved up, jumping. He jumped up and came down. Whoa! He left his body right there, jumping up and down in kirtan. Now all the devotees, of course, were like, Jai! What a cool way to go! I mean, you couldn't ask for a better way to leave your body. Now, nobody knew whether he had like a heart condition and he was like, you know, egging it on, like, I want to leave my body like this, or he had some incurable disease. I don't know. But he left his body in a kirtan. And it was like the best thing in the world. And I thought, that's what I want. That's the way I'm going. I'm going to jump up and not come down, you know. I'm out of here. See you later. And actually, one more, just because I just thought about it. I was in Alachua, huh? Oh, this was probably 2013. Yeah, 2013. This is also like 2014. I was in Alachua, and this devotee was giving a class. And the deities are right there. You sit in the asana right here. The deities are right here. And he had a heart attack. Well, it seemed like a heart attack. It was more like a stroke or something like that. He blacked out, and he just went like that. Oof, like that. And unfortunately for him, there was a doctor and he revived him, resuscitated him. And when he came back, he said, "What'd you do that for?" And I just thought I left right in front of the deities. What'd you do that for? He's still around. He was actually bummed out. He was agitated. Oh, man, what'd you do that for? But anyway. Yeah, in Alachua, Florida. So, you know, our goal is to become like Srila Prabhupada. Is it possible? Of course it is. Of course it is. Prabhupada said everybody can become pure devotee. It doesn't just happen by itself, though. You have to put the work into it. So, becoming a pure devotee, what does that mean? That means getting rid of all your material desires. Now, is there anybody here who's like free of all material desires and want to explain how you did it? No. We all have them. It's natural. We have so many of them. I know myself, when I came to the movement, I was just like a material desire. I was a walking material desire. And I became a devotee. So even, it's been 47 years, I'm still working on it because there are so many different material desires that are cropping up all the time. But by this chanting process and by putting yourself in the association of devotees in this chanting process, you got yourself a fighting chance. It's a fighting chance that you can actually become a pure devotee in this life and go back to Godhead. So one more story. So I have the motor on. I think I've told you this one before, but it's okay. You can hear it again. A lot of you are new. So Srila Prabhupada was giving a class. This was in Los Angeles in 1972. And he was speaking about becoming pure, giving up all material desires. And he told the devotees, in order to go back to Godhead, you must be 100% pure, 100% no material desires, a pure devotee, then you can go back to Godhead. Now everybody in the class made the exact same face. They had the exact same expression on their face. Because they're all thinking, 100%? I mean, I'm like 10% now. How's this going to be possible? And they were all looking at Prabhupada. Imagine that, if you all make that, try making that face. If you all made that face and I'm sitting here talking, I'd be like, whoa, okay. Maybe I better say something to make you feel better. So then Prabhupada talked for a little bit longer, and then he said, all right then, 90% pure, and Krishna will accept you back. And they still made the same face. So Prabhupada's continuing the lecture, and they're just like, it's not possible. It's just not possible. They were so bewildered, so disappointed. They thought, you know what, I've been devotee for like a year now. Isn't that long enough? Because in the beginning of the movement, that's what we all thought. 5 years, maybe 10 at the most. Right back to Godhead, here I go. Didn't quite work like that. So Prabhupada noticed that. Finished the lecture. He's walking from his Vyasa-san, getting ready to go up to his room. And he turns to everybody, because they still have that face. He turns to them and he all goes, Krishna will guide you, accept you, greet you with loving arms if you're simply 80% Krishna conscious. Thinking that that would like do it, that would, you know, satisfy everybody. They're all still. So Prabhupada went up to his room and a few of his sannyasi disciples went with him. One of them said, Prabhupada, you know, like 80% Krishna conscious, it's still quite a long ways off. And it's not very enlivening for us to hear that we're just like so far from being Krishna conscious. And Prabhupada says, okay then. He says, I have something for you. If you simply hold on to the back of my dhoti, I have the key to the back door to Krishna Loka. You simply hold on to my dhoti. And then the devotees went, Jai Srila Prabhupada. So that is our key, is this association. Your association is with Srila Prabhupada through his books, through his disciples, while there's still some around. And with the advanced devotees who are following what Srila Prabhupada says. That is your way back to Godhead. Imagine this. Let's just say that you have a spiritual master. He's holding on to Srila Prabhupada's dhoti. Somebody else is holding on to his dhoti. You're holding on to somebody else's dhoti. And somebody else is holding on to your dhoti. You're all going back to Godhead because you've got like a train going on. You're all holding on. So therefore this association is very important. Because you don't know who here is holding on to somebody's dhoti, who's holding on to somebody's dhoti, who's holding on to Prabhupada's dhoti, who's got the key to the back door. So that's why association is so very important. It really is our life-saving. And when they throw you that lifesaver, that's association. You want to be safe in Krishna consciousness? Stay in the association of devotees. I'll tell you, the first time I heard a class by Srila Prabhupada, it was in New York City in 1976. I don't remember one word he said. Not one word. I couldn't tell you what the class was about. I could never remember. You know why? Because I did book distribution the day before till very late. And I was nodding out the whole time. A Pure Devotee gave class. I was so tired. And I never felt bad about it because I was doing service. So if you're out there in Harinam, jumping up and down, dancing around, and you're really tired and you can't stay awake, you earned it. I don't mind that you're falling asleep. Well, I mind a little bit. That's why I'm telling you this story. But I'm telling you though, if you're actually committed to this chanting of Hare Krishna, you're committed to this process, you're on the right path, and by practicing this and keep doing this for the rest of your life, you too will realize you made a good decision by becoming a Krishna Bhakta, by chanting Hare Krishna, by associating with devotees who are like-minded, by taking prasadam. Now, I mean, does this sound like punishment? Does this sound like I'm torturing people by saying this? You have to chant Hare Krishna. No, don't make me do it. Take prasadam. Oh, no. It's blissful. It's ecstatic. Right? It's not like, you know, like I did Kirtan Mela. They actually, and I had a lot of fun. The first time I ever chanted in the temple room for Kirtan Mela. And I was sitting there thinking, I'm not a bhajan person. I don't really, you know, I don't do that. I'm not a sweet singer. I'm loud. You know. So I made everybody stand up in the whole temple room. I stood up. You can YouTube it, you'll see. I made everybody chant and dance and chant and dance. And I was having so much fun. And I thought, this is really what it's about. It's about chanting and dancing. It's not about sitting around and just, you know, I mean, you can do that with japa. Japa is meditative. It's very wonderful. But kirtan is in the mood of Lord Chaitanya. It's chanting and dancing in ecstasy. Nobody ever goes asleep in a kirtan. A class, it happens, right? You're tired, you fall asleep, it's early, and I actually saw somebody fall asleep giving a class. Have you ever seen that? Does he ever do that? He fell asleep, and he did it a lot. He was actually a GBC, he was a sannyasi and everything like that, and he used to talk like this anyway. And then everybody's sitting there going, oh my God, he fell asleep. He bored himself out. He was so boring that he fell asleep in the middle of a class. So hopefully nobody ever does that to you, but I did see it happen. And I saw it happen more than once, as somebody actually did. But the best part about that class that devotee used to give, he would continue right where he left off. How did he do that? You know, he's like, the absolute truth is reckoned in 3 phases. So it's, you know, like, wow, pretty good. Didn't miss a beat. Everybody else is like, I can't believe that. So, you know, association is the key word for today. And also today is Harinam Day, 5 o'clock. Don't come too early. 5 o'clock. And today is a special day. And I'm going to show you why. Just because I happen to have this. And I just love this. So today's Harinam is a very special Harinam. Oops. Can you see this? So today we have an electric Harinam. So I have an electric guitar, bass guitar, our saxophone player is going to be there. This is our ad for it. This is for last week's. So I hope everybody can come. That's it, electric Harinam. So make something Krishna conscious that you like special and important in your life. Whatever it is, it can be taking prasadam, chanting japa, just associating with devotees, Krishna Katha, Harinam, reading books, whatever it is, but take one of those different activities in Krishna consciousness and make it the most important thing in your life. If you do that, then you will never leave Krishna consciousness. And that's coming from somebody who can say that I actually relish Harinam Sankirtan. I love chanting. I love it. More than anything else, I love Harinam. And I used to love book distribution, and I still love that. And because of those 2 factors, I'm still sitting here 47 years later. Because I love those things. What's not to love is the way I look at it. And so I stay connected with Krishna through those 2 activities. So if you want to be 70 years old and be sitting in a chair talking to young men, say how many, 35 years from now? Something like that. Become attached to one of these activities in Krishna consciousness and you will never depart. You'll always feel the nectar that is present within the Harinam, within Prabhupada's books, within Prasadam, whatever it is you choose. Okay? Hare Krishna. Thank you.
We are very fortunate.
7 minutes.
So nicely, the power of association. And you have to develop taste for some of the activities, like also develop taste for Harinam, and you can still see every day Mokhi goes for Harinam. Every day. And book distribution. That mobile one.
What's the mobile one? Oh. Yeah. Are you going to be there tomorrow morning? Oh, okay. So I'll tell that story to the guest if you want. That's one of my favorites. I try to think of something different every day. I introduce Prabhupada's Gita with other books every day at 6 o'clock in the morning in the temple room. You guys probably haven't seen this. So all the guests, they chant around a japa, they all sit down, the temple room's usually crowded. And then they introduce me. I try to encourage everybody to take Prabhupada's books home with them. So one day, this is the day he's talking about, Kumar Lila, I was saying, everybody wants to have association with Krishna, but what if Krishna called you on your cell phone? The cell phone rings, you look down, it's Krishna. Krishna's calling, Krishna's calling. What would you do? Would you answer it? I hope you would. You'd answer it, right? Krishna's calling. Krishna wants to talk to you. How special is this? You had Krishna on the cell phone. What if Krishna talked to you and it was written down? It's written down. It's Bhagavad Gita as it is. There's Krishna talking to you. Are you going to take him home with you or not? It worked. People are like, yeah, let's have it. We'll have it. So that was the story I was talking about. There's more to it, but
Any other question and devotees have?
Oh, there you go.
So suppose if someone is pure devotee already has already free from this material world, and don't you think that he is already living the environment of Godhead? He is already enjoying the life that is in the spiritual world.
Absolutely.
So why don't people do kirtan and Krishna prem not just to enjoy, not to just get a place in Godhead after life? Why don't he should do Krishna Bhakti, Krishna prem in this world, so that he can already enjoy the life of Godhead? He don't need any Godhead after life. He's already enjoying in this material.
That's not a question, that's a statement. You just said it. That's what we're supposed to be doing.
I don't.
I know. Just, you want me to verify that? Yes, it works. That's what you're supposed to be doing. Just like I was saying, when you're in kirtan, when you're in Harinam, or when you're chanting, you're supposed to be totally absorbed, right? Whereas your bills that are due, the girlfriend who yelled at you today, or what you're going to eat for lunch, it doesn't come into play. That part is gone because you are immersed. At that particular moment, you are a pure devotee. You are experiencing the purity of simply chanting and nothing else. To get to that stage, you must maintain that. Keep doing that. Like you see every living entity as a suffering soul. You want to help them. You know? Every living entity, not just devotees. Everybody. Everybody is suffering. We're all suffering because we're not in that stage. If we were in that stage, this would be the spiritual world. We would perceive it as such. Because everybody's doing the same thing. We're all chanting Hare Krishna, glorifying Krishna, serving Krishna together. That's the spiritual world. That's the description. So to get to that, we have to make everybody Krishna conscious. That's why the Dham is such a special place. Because everybody here is focusing on Krishna, on Chaitanya. Everyone is in that mood, so it becomes more spiritual here. When you go to Haldia, not everybody's thinking like you're thinking. So this group, yes. But the outside world is like, you know, I'm doing this, I got that, I got car payments, I got this going on, I got that going on. And that's their main focus. So it's not the spiritual world. Could be if we all chanted Hare Krishna. But so you're correct. That's the key. Prabhupada was always with Krishna. Always. Sometimes he would even relate stories like Krishna said this to me, or I see Krishna doing this. So, that's where we want to get to. We want to be able to look at the deities and see Krishna, not brass or whatever. We want to see Krishna. When we become pure, that's what we will see. So, yeah, we want to be in the spiritual world now, then simply become pure by chanting Hare Krishna. Good question.
I actually don't like, not like, but I don't enjoy doing chanting, but I really enjoy doing kirtan a lot. So when I do kirtan...
You don't enjoy chanting, but you enjoy kirtan.
So,
you don't like japa?
Yeah, I don't enjoy japa.
Okay.
So when I actually do japa, then that musical tone already came while chanting. So
right.
I'm doing kirtan in chanting. So our senior Bhaiya told me that no, you should not do like this. You should do japa the way it is. That everyone does Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. But I don't actually enjoy doing this. So that musical tone of kirtan, like Hare Krishna, that actually already came. So when someone heard this, so they came and said, no, you should not like this. So am I doing something wrong? Or
no.
Make me angry?
You know the prayer Govinda Madhipusha, Mataji that sings that? She used to sing her japa. Did you know that, Jamuna? She would sing her japa and everyone used to chastise her for doing it. And Prabhupada says, no, let her chant the way she wants to chant. She likes singing it. She sings. She used to chant like that. She used to go, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare. She used to sing it. And people used to say, it can take you forever. So let it take her forever. She enjoys chanting. But you chant the way you want to chant. I mean, obviously we tend to want to chant quicker so that you're not spending all day chanting. If you've committed to chanting 16 rounds and you chant like, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. I mean, that's going to take you more than 24 hours, probably. So.
16 rounds of chanting, but I just want one round so that I can feel that actually I am praying for Krishna. Actually, I am in love with Krishna. That's why I like that way of praying rather than increasing the number of 16.
But you'll be surprised though, with chanting, when you actually are fully absorbed in it, you don't see it as a chore or a service or a work, and you actually absorb yourself in it. Even chanting a little bit quicker, there's such a taste there. And you have to let yourself have that taste. It's a different taste than kirtan, that it is. But the holy name is still the potent force that you're not enjoying it, you're tasting it. Because when we chant anywhere, anytime, Hare Krishna, Krishna is actually present in his name. So whether you sing it, chant it quickly, as long as you're hearing every syllable, that's the key. And eventually, hopefully, you get a taste for that japa. Because japa, when you get a taste for it, is very ecstatic. It's just a different kind of ecstasy, It's perfect, more perfect, and most perfect. Different ways of experiencing ecstasy, but it's all perfect. It's wonderful. The mantra. Well, the way I describe it is japa is perfect. Sitting and chanting with your friends is more perfect. Chanting with people who don't usually hear the mantra is most perfect. Because then you're doing service as well. You're serving the mantra to people who wouldn't have this opportunity. That's why for me Harinam is the most ecstatic. Because I like chanting myself. I mean, I chant on my scooter, I chant doing this, I'm always chanting. I love it. I love chanting. I love chanting in a group of devotees like this morning we just chanted, that was really great. But this afternoon, when we do the Harinam, there's a bunch of people just standing there looking. If I can be chanting with them and all of a sudden I see them starting to chant, then I think, Krishna's happy. Krishna's seeing, here's another soul that probably wouldn't have chanted, now he's chanting. So that's good. Okay? But there's good thoughts, good questions. Somebody else? Yeah.
Is my mom and dad also the part of the material world? Is my mom and dad are also the part of my material world.
Is your mom and dad part of the material world? What do you mean by that? They're not devotees, so they the.
मामा भी material world में आता है क्या? जैसे पैसा, girlfriend से सब materialistic world में.
No, absolutely not. No. I mean, there's a limit to how far you go in respecting and serving your parents, but your parents are to be worshipped. When Srila Prabhupada was giving initiation to Gargamuni and Brahmananda, very original devotees from 1966, their mother came to the initiation. And Prabhupada says, now pay your dandavats to your mother. And she wasn't a devotee, she's just their mother. But he says, you should always have respect for your mother. And it's very important that we feel that way. I had a mother, my father wasn't really around, but my mother was. And for some odd reason, she was a very good Catholic, very spiritual, very, very sweet. She would never say Hare Krishna. It was really funny. She would never say it. She was proud of me that I was, like a devotee and living a spiritual life, but she wouldn't say Hare Krishna. She wouldn't chant. Her last day in that body, I went to see her, and she was losing it a bit mentally, which was wonderful. So I said, let's chant, Mom. She goes, okay. And we started chanting. We had a kirtan, and she left like an hour later. She was singing and chanting. I said, Mom, you're going to go back to Godhead. And she's like, yeah. She's like, Jai, Jai. I said, say Jai. She's Jai. Say Haribol. She's Haribol. It was wonderful. Krishna blessed her. So, by just staying in being good association, so to speak. Like you're starting your life as a bhakta. And as long as your parents see that, you're not like being a bum, you're not just doing nothing, you're not wasting your time, you're actually devoting your life for a major goal of going back to Godhead. And you do realize that if you go back to Godhead, your parents go as well. So the best service you can do for them is become a devotee. But never disrespect. Never disrespect. I'll be honest, I did one time. One time. I was a new devotee. I was invited back for what they call Thanksgiving. I don't know if you know what that is in America, but they get a big turkey. It's a whole thing, And I went back, and I was wearing a dhoti, tilak, shaved head. I had brothers, I had sister, family was whole there at the table. And I'm sitting looking at this dead, cooked animal on the table, and I lost it. I'm a new devotee, I'm still rah, 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 rah. So I started saying, don't you realize you had to kill that turkey and now you're going to eat it? I said, what kind of consciousness are you in? Da, da, da. And of course I never got invited back for Thanksgiving. But, I didn't show the respect to my parents that I should have shown. I'm 22 years old, I'm crazy in the head. But that was wrong. And I know it was wrong. I said, in my head I'm thinking, I have to say something, you have to say something. No, I didn't have to say something. You're not here to critique your parents, to criticize them. They've done the best they could, they're doing the best they can, but by your example, you can show them that chanting Hare Krishna and being a Krishna Bhakta is a good life, and maybe they'll take, have more respect for you and the movement by your actions. So respect your parents, yes. Yes, Prabhu. One more with the God. You, Prabhu.
Prabhuji,
Yeah.
Considering the eating habits,
Yeah.
when we see, especially in the Western countries, people often eat meat on a daily basis.
Yes.
So how can one get influence, completely change the diet to eat more?
How can you do that? Well, like Prabhupada said, we're not promoting vegetarianism. If Krishna said, eat meat, we would eat meat, but Krishna doesn't say that, and we are Krishna Bhaktas. So we follow what Krishna says. But we're not promoting vegetarianism. We're not promoting vegan, you know, all that stuff. It's just prasadam. We take prasadam, so we eat what is offered. Now, how does somebody give up that? I have a sister and a brother who I really wanted to become devotees. You know what it's like. You have something good, you want to share it. So I really wanted my sister and my brother to become devotees. And they were big meat eaters. I was a big meat eater. I never thought twice about it. And so I was trying to convince them that, you know, it's not such a good thing to kill animals. And most of people in the West, they just don't see that because they don't see meat as an animal. And that's the problem. They package it so nicely. You don't see, like on the side of the road, you go by and you can see chickens hanging up, and it's really visual and it's really hard to handle. In the West, your meat comes nicely packaged in a little packet. You don't see any animals. It's just a piece of meat. It's meat. What's the big deal? You know, it's not. Never. You would never. They wouldn't eat if they had that. People would go, whoa. They don't see that. Nobody sees an animal. You see a piece of whatever that is. It doesn't relate. You don't relate to it. I know. I've been there, done that. You don't relate. You don't even consider it. I remember when I was a new devotee, I got sent to Hong Kong. And in Hong Kong, every animal in the world is edible. Everything's edible, but especially animals. And I was walking through the market and I was seeing, like snakes and lizards and mice and rats and cats and dogs and everything. They were selling and chopping up and eating, killing them and some. And I was just like, oh my God, how do these people do this? How do you get, pick out a live animal and sit and watch them be slaughtered, and then they put it in a bag and here you go. I was just like shocked. Absolutely shocked. It stunned me. I couldn't go back to the market. I couldn't shop for the temple because I was like, I can't go. It freaked me out so much. If people saw that, they would be freaked out, but they don't. Especially in the West, it's like they're so hidden. I mean, and they do commercials on TV where a cute chicken is saying, come to chicken, da, 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 and he's dancing and he's really cute and cool, and. Oh, cool! Yeah, I'm gonna go eat there. I'm gonna eat some chicken. Yeah, it's just so well done that you forget that it's actually a dead animal. So, but remember though, we're trying to get people to follow Krishna, and not just be vegetarian, because you can be a vegetarian and be a demon, right? You can still do that. Obviously, it helps if you stop eating meat. You lose that aggressiveness and that bad karma. But the point is that we're just trying to become Krishna bhaktas. And Krishna says, offer me with love and devotion, fruit, flower, leaf, or water. If he said, offer me, chicken and fish, we would eat chicken and fish. But he doesn't. So, okay?
So we are very, very fortunate to have this association. It spoke so nicely about the importance of association. And because the language is not a barrier. Because it's coming from the heart, so it's going to the... Many times, many times Prabhupada, people experience with Prabhupada. Prabhupada is a Bengali accent. When he went to America, many of the people could not understand his accent. But many people say, because they felt this person is the only genuine person I can remember. There was such concern. Because his understanding of perfection is that to meet people and give them handing of the Guru. So we are very fortunate. And during the Vakuna festival, we had association for it. So it was very busy Sundays, especially they had a lot of programs. So we also invite him to Haldia also.
Sometime. Yeah, you work in it. Oh! I'll come. Oh, really? You know what? When calling me, Prabhu, you should, if you have WhatsApp, because where I live, the cell phone service doesn't work. Yeah, so basically everybody who wants to speak to me WhatsApps me, and then I answer.
We're very fortunate because it's not to read books. We can read books, but when we hear from people, their consciousness matters. So we're very fortunate to have this association. All of us are being benefited. So we can try to take the chanting of the Hare Krishna seriously, as Prabhu said. And we can be always in association and try to find out some activities which gives you joy in Krishna. Like Prabhu just sleep, very Ram Sankirtan. Krishna will give you some taste, some people will get taste in reading books. That's also perfect.
Absolutely.
Some people will get taste in doing japa. That's also very great. Some people will get in singing. That's also great. If somebody said that's wrong. Somebody can, as Prabhupada said, Yamuna Mata is singing. Only thing is like it may take.
Yeah, it takes a while. I actually knew more than one devotee who chanted their japa very slowly. Like Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. I was like, oh my God, you're going to be here all day. We have to go out today. Let's go. But whatever works for you, and that's this beauty of Krishna consciousness is Krishna's a person, you're a person. So you're going to develop this personal attachment, personal relationship, but it's personal. So it's not like a rubber stamp thing. Do you know what I mean by that? It's like we're not all the same. We don't all enjoy the same things. We don't all feel the same things. It's completely different. That's why your realizations of Krishna consciousness are different than everybody else's. Lila has his, I have mine, you have yours. And no matter what level you're on, you have a realization. Or you wouldn't be here, right? Why were you sitting here? You have some realization of Krishna. That's why you're here. So we can relish each other's association. Like Prabhu's talking about, my association. And I'm thinking, I'm getting your association. And that's why I'm here, is because I relish his association. Every time I see Kumar Lila Prabhu, I'm like, yeah, okay, all right. Because I know something's going to happen that's going to be really fun for me, right? Because he is enthusiasm. When I think of enthusiasm, I think of Kumar Lila Das. So you guys are very, very lucky to have him in Haldia. And if there's more like this in Haldia, I want to go. Talk to me after tonight, because tonight I'm focusing on big kirtan. But you'll explain to me. 5 hours. 5 hours. By car, 5 hours. 5 hours. He's good. I got to pay that one. That was a good one. Okay. Okay. All right, Prabhu. All right. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.